Hi, soul searchers. So there is something that I've been thinking about lately, and it is this piece of wisdom from this book, the Ching. There's a quote that I want to read to you because this is definitely something that I've been focused on in my life for a while. It's something that I see as very important, and I think a lot of people really fail to see this concept, but honestly, being able to anchor into this has helped me dissolve so much of my anxiety and fear about the future. So I want to read this quote to you. This is a quote from the section on returning to the root of the Tao Te Ching, and it says, "When things in the vegetable world have displayed their luxuriant growth, we see each of them return to its root. This returning to their root is what we call the state of stillness, and that stillness may be called the reporting that they have fulfilled their appointed end. The report of that fulfillment is the regular unchanging rule. To know that unchanging rule is to be intelligent. Not to know it leads to wild movements and evil issues." When I see people who have failed to understand the cyclicality of their own life, they're always pushing forward to the next thing and never really leaving space for a fall or a winter season. Instead, they're always in this spring and summer season trying to grow something new, trying to prosper, trying to be abundant. That creates a lot of anxiety. And this is something that I think is just part of our world as a whole. I think this is very much us still recovering from industrializing. And in a weird way, we're always going to be a society that's in the process of industrializing because we're moving into a new stage of technology, and that's just how humanity has always been. We advance. And that creates a lot of disruption. The biggest disruption that I see right now is young people are understanding life as this push towards success and away from the things that you don't want. And I think that's definitely a valid way of doing things, right? Being able to set goals, motivate yourself. You gotta be a self-motivated person. Like, you have to want to work towards the things that you see yourself achieving. But at the same time, I see just this constant masculine state of the world, this very active, go-getter, plan, decide, orient kind of energy of things, without there really being that feminine piece, the feminine being the passive, receptive, creative, dreamy, flowy, present moment kind of thing. So the thing that I have found really useful in my life, and the thing that I have been able to help my clients with, is that balance between the work and the rest. Because ultimately that's understanding the cyclicality. Something else that I've been able to help people through is the mastery of not just being able to let go of pain, but being able to create space within your own heart and soul to hold on to it. I think a lot of the time when something negative happens, or we're going through a challenge in our life, we're facing uncertainty, we don't really know what's coming next, we tend to try and fix that thing instead of being really comfortable in the space of the unknown. And this comes back to what the Tao Te Ching was saying about the natural root, right? When we see things in the natural world, they have that cycle of creation. There's a springtime when the little sprout is coming up out of the grass, and the summertime when it has gone through the turbulent stages of growth and it's now an abundant, beautiful tree, and then it's gonna shed its leaves, and then it's gonna be naked. And you can take that one step further and you can say that that tree at the end of its life will actually decompose back into the soil. But from the minerals of that plant, there's going to be new life. And this is the exact same thing that happens in the human psyche. And this is exactly what the Tao Te Ching is talking about. Being able to understand our natural root and to come back to that spot without constantly having to push ourselves into the future is, I think, how we create lasting inner peace and lasting success. If your success is something that only resides behind a milestone or a timeline or a certain number in your bank account, then you're constantly relying on external validation and you can never arrive. If success is an internal recognition of the present moment, it's just complete satisfaction where you're at right now as you continue to walk the path towards your progress, then you never have to find success. You just have it within you all the time. If you hit a certain milestone in your career, you're gonna feel really good because you've been working towards that. You've been waking up early, you've been hustling, you've been reaching out, connecting with people, you've really wanted this for yourself and you've been working to make it happen. But that amount of pride and that feeling of happiness and success is only going to last so long. And after a while, there's gonna be a new milestone for you to hit. And this is something that Alan Watts talks about too. He says, it's like we're constantly reaching for the next rung of a ladder. And Alan Watts talks about how You get to a point when you're in your 40s, your 50s, and you realize you're there. You've arrived, and you feel no different than you ever really have, except you're feeling kind of cheated. Because it was always this push of move to the next thing. And at the end of the day, I think that this whole model, I think it's a lot more complicated than it has to be. Like, take away all of these human labels of identity in the least complicated way that we can state what it means to be a human being having a human experience. You are an ecosystem. Things are either going to feed your soil and help you build strong roots, grow tall, produce seeds, and create more of yourself, more goodness in the world to manifest the life that you want. Or things are sapping your soil. They're taking nutrients away from you. They are siphoning your beautiful leaves, that beautiful flower that you could be creating, and they are strangling your roots, and they are stopping you from growing tall, and eventually you're not gonna repropagate, you're not gonna come back after that frost. But if you're able to root yourself deeply into things that feed your soil, into things that are good for you, then this cycle of spring, summer, fall, and winter, of birth, growth, harvest, darkness, and rebirth, that cycle is always going to bring you somewhere better than you were before. And in this model, it's not about pushing yourself into the future and away from the past. It's not about moving in this linear fashion. It's about moving in the cycle that's always happening. It's always there. There is always going to be a birth, a growth, a harvest, and a darkness. That's life. That's all of life. It happens every single year as the seasons change around us, and it happens over the course of your entire life. When you are 0 to the time you're about 25, you're going through some of the hardest challenges you're ever going to go through. You are proving that you are independent of the mother tree. You are growing as a little seed. You are building a strong root system, a community, and connections that are going to sustain you. And then from the time you're about 25 to 50, you are propagating your fruit. You are growing seeds. You're becoming stronger and taller and even more independent. And from the time you're 50 to 75, your identity is really shifting. It's not rooted as much around growing and thriving. It's rooted a lot more into this coming back to center. And from the time you're 75 to the time you're dead, you're coming into this period of darkness. And it's not bad. Darkness doesn't mean bad. It means rest. It means retraction. It means going inwards. If you are experiencing anxiety from living in this model of constantly reaching up the ladder, climbing, trying to grab that next thing, then I would suggest that you take the advice of Alan Watts and what I'm telling you right now and return to your roots. Whether you want a promotion, whether you want a family, whether you want to hit a next milestone or be at a different point of your life or get into a university that you really care about or have that brand deal go through or work with this new client or move past that relationship block with your mom. Those things are all wants. And they're good things to want. But wanting something takes us out of the present moment. That doesn't mean it's bad. But if we can find a way to master stillness within us where we're not asking for something new, we're not taking ourselves out of this moment, we're not making anything about this moment wrong, then that's when we get to respond to our life and to other people from a place of being truly rooted in good soil. This is less a period for me now of opening doors and creating new doors, and it's more a period of just really taking a step back and observing what doors are already open to me. So I hope this was useful for you, and I will see you next Soulful Saturday. Bye!